everybody. I'm so glad you're here and you're watching. Mwah. I'm sorry it took so long for me to get that video up last week. It took a little while to find all those pictures. and yeah, so I found them and I hope you guys all really liked that video that I put together. So I am going to start the next part of this video journal, which is going to follow my court case. Well, it's going to follow me getting told by my mother that she was going to divorce my father, everything that surrounded that moment. Also, us going to court, me going to therapy before court, the things I talked about in therapy, how my therapist helped me, those kind of things. Also, I'm going to talk about the court case and how I felt throughout the court case, the different scenarios that were happening, and how that affected me, which was very interesting. And I remember everything like it was yesterday. Sorry, I had something in my eye. And yeah, so I'm gonna talk about all that. And yeah, okay. That's what I'm gonna talk about. And then, everything, how I dealt with my father and the way he looked at me while I looked at him and testified against him when I was so little. All of that, which is pretty intense. So that's going to be the next part of this video journal. I'm going to start this with the story of my mother telling me she was going to divorce my father. Right before that happened, my brother had taken a trip with my father. I guess it was a great trip because they went to see his family in Oregon. My father's Native American, I said that, and he was one of the first 5 founding families of Grants Pass, Oregon. His grandmother walked the trail with Lewis and Clark, the Oregon Trail. His father was a dynamite expert, or he blew up tunnels for the train tracks. He was Native American. And that's kind of so that's where he's from. So that's where he took my brother to go visit his family. I guess it was a great trip. And during that time, I went and stayed with my uncle. It was a great time. My baby cousin had just been born. It was a wonderful time, actually. Soon after that, my mom took my brother and I to a trip, just the 3 of us. We went up to Santa Cruz, and on the way we stopped at Foster's Freeze. And it was so cool because they didn't really have a lot of them, and it was kind of the trip on the way up. We could stop there. On the way down or whatever, we could stop there. So we stopped at the Foster's Freeze, and we're sitting there eating our yummy soft serves and having our treats, and my mother tells us that she's going to divorce my father. My immediate reaction was, oh, great. I was so relieved. I was like, oh, good. I didn't even know, I couldn't even stop myself. I said it, I was like, I was so happy immediately, but then my brother, who had a really great trip, I think, with my father, no matter what we endured, he was upset. Which then caused me to be upset because he was always so protective of me when we were little. And at times where my father would come after me, he would step right in front of me and take a beating for me, just because. And we were so little when he would do that. It was crazy. I mean, hiding under a table and having him go in front of me so my dad, who was grabbing in to get one of us, would grab him and he would just give himself to be whooped on so I would be protected. It was insane. But so even with this, he was sad. So I was sad. It was an emotional time. I think it was just emotional. So even though I was relieved, it was interesting how I was immediately affected by my brother's sadness about it. Then all of a sudden I was like, oh no, we can't do this then. And it's interesting to think how that probably has affected the dynamic in families, so many times. Somebody worried about the other person's feelings, and so something that needs to happen just doesn't happen because the fear of the transition or the fear of the loss is greater than the fear of the unknown, I guess. It was very interesting. So that was the first moment that I felt relief, but also the anguish of, not being able to protect everybody, stop people from getting hurt. When my initial thought was, oh, this will fix it, and then, oh no, this doesn't fix it. Now he's sad, and oh, now it's just, what do we do now? But we had to go through what we had to go through. We had to deal with this situation, and I had to go through my therapy, and I had to testify against my father in court. My mother didn't testify. My brother did not testify. I did. And that's the best, that's what I could do. Maybe I couldn't step in front of them when they were getting beat on, or maybe I couldn't stop it like the time when I was 3 or 4 and told him to stop hitting, before he hit my mother. But this I could do. And it was hard going to court in the mornings and running up and down the hallways in the back room trying to get out my energy, because I didn't even know it at the time, but I was just full of this scared, nervous energy. And my therapist, who was there with my family to testify as well, just would say, run it out, just get your energy out, and she knew what was going on. I didn't. I know now as an adult looking back. But it's a pretty intense story. So that's how this episode, this part of my life started. How it changed from one thing and went into another mode of survival, another mode of saving us, another mode of changing what was happening, breaking the chains, I guess. And we got through it. Here I am. And yeah, so just know, things are hard. Things changing is hard. Transitions are hard. Getting out of bad situations, fear of the unknown, it's terrifying. But when you get through that time, whether it takes, 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, once you're past that, 5 years, you get past it and you see how much you've changed and your life has changed and what you've learned from these things. So yeah, it took me, it took me a long time to move past all this, but it was a step. Every step was a step towards releasing this circle of, torment that I think had been handed down through my families for generations, if you believe in that kind of thing. And it's my job to stop it. It was my job, and I think I did. I did. My kids are so happy, and they'll never know anything like I knew or my parents knew. And I'm grateful for that. All right. Thanks for listening, you guys. And please don't forget, subscribe and press the bell dingy for notifications, and please comment. I would love anybody's comments. Comment and share. I haven't gotten really any comments, but I would love some. All right, guys? Love ya. Thank you.